Ever get that feeling like you've got this whole world going on inside, one most people don't really see? Like you're trying to show them, but it's just tricky.
Hmm. Yeah. That's exactly what we're diving into today. How one listener, you, listener's name, are trying to bridge that gap between your inner and outer self.
I like that, bridging the gap.
And you're doing it in a way I've never encountered before, which is what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We're looking at your personal reflection, titled Positive Interactions on My Birthday.
Okay.
Turning 30, that's a big one, and it seems like you're using it as a chance to really open up, share who you are.
Yeah, milestones like that often make us hit the pause button, don't they? It's a time when a lot of us think about who we are, what we want, where we're going, how we want to be seen. Absolutely. And you even mentioned wanting to merge your internal and external worlds. That really struck me.
It speaks to this very human need, I think, for authenticity, for our outer lives to actually reflect those complexities we carry inside. But that vulnerability, putting yourself out there like that,
Yeah.
it's both exhilarating and a little scary at the same time.
Totally. And this is where it gets even more interesting because you bring up these subpersonalities. And it's clear you're not just talking about being in different moods, right? This is different. You're looking for conversations that go beyond small talk, that really dive into this idea.
Deeper conversations, yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. You wrote that you want to own these different sides of yourself, but you're still figuring out what that means in practice. It's like you're craving those questions that help you understand yourself better through this lens of subpersonalities, right?
What's fascinating here, listener's name, is that you're seeking validation through questions, not just agreement.
That's a good distinction.
It's not about needing people to say, yep, those subpersonalities are totally real. It's deeper. You want a genuine wrestling with what they mean, how they interact, how they shape your experience.
And finding people willing to engage on that level, that's rare.
It is rare. Most people are happy to keep things very surface level.
Right, and that's what makes your desire so unique. You're seeking a rare and precious kind of connection, one built on shared understanding of this inner world you're revealing. And you're choosing a pretty unexpected platform for this self-expression, YouTube.
Interesting.
You even mentioned being a bit camera shy, so that's pretty bold.
It is.
And what's really cool is how you're using AI to make the video creation process less intimidating. You're basically having these deep, revealing conversations with an AI program and then sharing the results on YouTube.
Wow. Okay, that's next level stuff.
Right.
But
what are your initial thoughts on that?
Well, it highlights how technology is changing how we discover and express ourselves.
Yeah.
Especially for those who don't jive with the traditional ways of doing things, you know. It's like you're using AI almost as a director for your own inner world to then share those discoveries with others. That's a level of vulnerability and tech savviness we rarely see combined.
I've got to say, it's brilliant. You're taking this potentially awkward thing, being on camera, and flipping it on its head, using AI to make it more comfortable.
And remember, even with technology as a tool, the ultimate goal for you here is still human connection. You want people to watch these videos and feel like they can connect with their own cast of characters, so to speak.
It's like you're saying, hey, I bet some part of you has felt that same tug of war between these different sides, and suddenly it's not just theory, it's a human connection. Which leads us to this other layer. You want to spark these deep conversations on a platform known for, well, let's just say shorter attention spans. That seems like a challenge in itself. It's like this classic tension, right, between long-form, nuanced content and those bite-sized TikToks.
Right.
And you feel that acutely, don't you, listener's name? You're craving those meatier discussions, but also you're aware of how tough it is to grab people's attention. Everyone's scrolling and scrolling.
It's a balance a lot of us are trying to figure out, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It's so relatable. We're bombarded with information these days. It's hard to slow down and really sink your teeth into something complex. So, in your own words, how do you find that sweet spot without compromising, obviously?
Well, I think short-form content, it can be amazing for that initial spark, right? You pique interest, give people a taste. But long-form, that's where you really unpack those ideas, you explore the contradictions, allow for the kind of reflection you're after.
And right now, you're leaning into that longer format with YouTube. But here's what I find really interesting, how specific you are about how you want people to engage with those subpersonalities once they've watched.
It's more than just wanting people to know about them, isn't it? It's much deeper, more relational.
Yeah. It's like, don't just tell me you get it. Tell me about a time you felt like Tira, for example. Or a relationship in your life that reminds you of the dynamic between two of those subpersonalities. You want them to reflect on their own experiences, share specific examples.
Exactly. This goes beyond self-disclosure. It's about seeking that genuine connection, shared understanding. You're basically creating this framework for others to participate in your self-discovery, which is incredibly vulnerable and brave, by the way.
And think of the conversations that could come out of that. Instead of just talking about these subpersonalities as abstract concepts, it becomes about lived experience, those, oh, I get that moments.
And imagine the potential for growth in that kind of exchange. Not just for you, listener's name, but for everyone involved. It reminds us that even when we feel alone in those internal worlds, there's actually this incredible potential for overlap, for shared humanity.
It's like finding these little bits of ourselves reflected back to us in the most unexpected places.
Precisely. And those moments of recognition, oh, I know that feeling, or I've been in a situation where those same dynamics were at play, that's where true understanding blossoms.
It does make you wonder, though, how do you encourage that kind of interaction, especially when you're dealing with something as multi-layered as this? Those YouTube videos are a great starting point, but it sounds like you're looking for even more direct engagement. Did you consider other options, other platforms at all?
You did mention, listener's name, wishing there was a faster way to introduce this side of yourself, right? Something as efficient as TikTok, perhaps.
Yeah. But you also seem hesitant to compromise on depth just for the sake of being brief. It's a tough balance.
Absolutely, and it's something I hear from a lot of content creators these days. How do you honor the complexity of an idea while also making it digestible, shareable, relevant to a generation that's used to quick hits?
Which honestly is something W think about with this very show. How do we make these deep dives engaging without overwhelming people? It's a constant process.
Finding that sweet spot between comprehensive and concise. We might not have all the answers, but what is clear is that you, listener's name, are on this journey of exploration, both internally and in how you connect with the world. You're trying new tools, different approaches, all with the goal of building those deeper connections, fostering that genuine understanding.
And using this milestone birthday as the catalyst, it's like you're stepping into this new decade with this renewed sense of purpose, this drive to bridge that gap between who you are on the inside and how you connect externally.
It's a powerful reminder that self-discovery isn't linear, is it? It's messy, it's iterative, and often requires us to get a little uncomfortable. Try things we haven't before.
Which in this case might mean trying out those short-form videos after all, just to experiment, see what happens.
Couldn't hurt. You might find that even a snippet, a quick peek into a subpersonalities world can spark curiosity, invite people to explore further.
And who knows, maybe that's all it takes to find those kindred spirits, those people who are also craving those deeper conversations, those connections that go beyond the surface.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? Finding your tribe, even if it means forging your own path to get there.
And that brings us to the heart of what makes your story, listener's name, so compelling. This idea that we all have these inner landscapes, these subpersonalities, as you call them, shaping how we experience the world and each other. It's not just you. We all have these different sides to ourselves.
It's a good reminder that identity is fluid, multifaceted. We contain multitudes, as they say.
I do.
And the more we can embrace that, understand those different parts within us, the more authentically we can show up in all our relationships.
It makes you wonder, what if we all approached our interactions with that kind of intentionality? Instead of just exchanging pleasantries, what if we were actively seeking those deeper points of connection, those glimpses into each other's inner worlds?
Imagine the possibilities. It could transform the way we communicate, the way we build relationships. Instead of just seeing the surface, we'd be attuned to the nuances, the complexities, the shared humanity that binds us all.
It's like that saying, right? Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. But now imagine taking it a step further. Be curious, because everyone you meet contains a cast of characters and you might just connect with one. It's about seeing beyond the surface.
What a beautiful thought. And a powerful challenge, too. What if, instead of just trying to understand people's actions, we try to understand the inner worlds, the subpersonalities that drive them? It's about recognizing that everyone has a story.
It might just unlock a level of empathy and connection we never thought possible. It really does make you think. What if we all took a page from your book, Listener's Name, and thought about our own inner cast of characters?
It could be a game changer. Think about it, approaching conversations not just trying to understand someone's actions, but the why behind them, the motivations, the fears, the hopes, all those things that make us who we are.
And those things are often hidden, aren't they? We present a certain version of ourselves to the world, but inside, it's a whole different story. Just like you're doing with your YouTube channel, you're saying, hey, it's okay to be multifaceted, to have these different sides, and to want to talk about them.
It takes courage to put yourself out there like that in a way that invites others to do the same. By sharing your experience, your desire for that deeper connection, you're giving other people permission to explore those parts of themselves too.
And isn't that what makes this whole journey so fascinating? It's not just about you, listener's name. By diving into your world, we're also prompted to reflect on our own. It's like holding up a mirror to those hidden parts of ourselves we often keep tucked away.
It's a reminder that we're all works in progress, constantly evolving, discovering new layers to who we are. And as we do, we might just find that those very things we perceive as vulnerabilities, those are actually the keys to forming deeper, more meaningful connections.
Like you said earlier, listener's name, you're looking for those aha moments, those questions that make you see yourself in a new light. And maybe, just maybe, by sharing your journey, you'll spark those same moments for someone else.
What a beautiful thought to end on. By embracing our own complexity, we open the door for others to do the same. And in that space of shared understanding, who knows what incredible connections we might forge.
It's certainly given us a lot to think about. So to our listener's name, thank you for letting us deep dive into your world. And to everyone else, we'll leave you with this. What would happen if we all dared to be a little more curious, a little more vulnerable, a little more open to exploring those fascinating inner worlds we all carry within? That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time for another exploration into a world of fascinating insights.